The two biggest differences, though, that I want to talk about before we get into our LPL review is Olaf and Kai'Sa. So Olaf as a jungler has been tried in Korea a lot in summer to almost no success. And it's kind of become an ironic pick. And you look at the Games of Legends pages for Olaf, and you see overall 46% win rate, not outstanding, but okay. You notice that Warrior Enchant is the most common build path now. Cinderhawk used to be the way, and that's fallen away a lot. The presence on the champion's pretty high. It's seen in over 50% of games most of the time. But notice this. This is what I want to show you guys, is Olaf's win rate by region. China has played by far the most Olaf, 45 games. And for context, 170 games played in China, 140 games played in LCK, so there is more games played there. But 45 games of Olaf, 60% win rate, and it's almost 100% Warrior Olaf. Like, this pick is god tier in the LPL, but you get to Korea, 24% win rate. That's a difference of 36% in terms of win rates between regions. That is insanely large win rate discrepancy. And you might think, what's that about? Do they just have better Olaf players? And there's probably some of that to it, but it's a symptom of a bigger thing. Let's jump to Kai'Sa, another champion that has been very popular in the LPL. 51% win rate in summer. Notice this, mana immune in 46% of games, and that was a dominant build in China, whereas it wasn't seen in Korea. 74 games out of a possible 170. So that's a huge pick rate for the Kai'Sa, 60% win rate as well. But look in the LCK, Kai'Sa, 33% win rate. You know, other regions are picking it more. 24 is a pretty small pick rate for how many games that have been played. So what are we saying? We're saying a lot more Olaf, a lot more Kai'Sa. So why? Like, why are those champions preferred in this region, but not preferred in the LCK? And a lot of that is about game style. The LPL will always have a shorter average game time and higher bloodiness than the LCK. How does IG play their games? Their games average 29 minutes. There are 39.7 kills in 29 minutes. That means 1.25 to 1.3 champions are killed or deaths on their team. So it's both allied deaths and enemy deaths per minute. So there's always action happening. There's a lot of skirmishes in an IG game. And some of the teams are a little bit slower. Like, for example, 26.9 in 29 minutes is about 0.85, 0.9 for FunPlus Phoenix. But LCK teams, on average, are much lower in game style and game pace. Meanwhile, Chinese teams are a lot faster. They skirmish more. They fight for more things rather than just for big objectives. And Olaf, what do we always say about him? If you've got priority or gank threat in the mid lane or someone that can back up Olaf, he walks in, he throws his axes, and basically every enemy jungler has to get the hell out of the jungle because his skirmishing is so powerful. A lot of people asked why. Like, why was it not picked up? And speaking to Korean AD carries, they just felt like you lost too much buying the tier compared to, say, the Kershey Shard on the way to a Stormrazor. It means the E-Evolve comes in too late, and E-Evolve is seen as the team-fighting evolve. Therefore, why go Manamune Kai'Sa when you could instead go for the Stormrazor 2 Evolve Kai'Sa? But in China, when you get your Manamune and get a very fast Q Evolve, you don't sit in your own lane and trim waves with it. You roam around the map with killer instinct, and you fight because people there fight more. And these two champions, Olaf and Kai'Sa, are symptoms of the differences in ideology between the LPL and the LCK. The LCK is much more fight-averse, only fight for important objectives. So in our region, it's never fit champions that fight a lot. Tom for priority in most lanes. This one is a bit of an interesting one. Now, it's something that Rookie played on game one but didn't have a great game on. It's also a jungler you can try to play against Olaf. Getting the Olaf here is their way to stop the inevitable run over of the bot lane. Like, if they feel like they're taking the strongest combat jungler and combining it with the same duo lane. Now, again, I would have preferred the Sivir, but FPX had already won on this. If they do get priority through mid lane and jungle, then Kate Lux just deletes turrets to almost no counterplay because of their ultra long range. But it is also potentially against a duo lane that iG could play through. You can still play through Varus against a Caitlyn Lux duo because there is kill pressure with Chains of Corruption. FPX, again, telegraph, we're going to play weak side. You can take whatever you want, and we're going to have, again, you pause here, and life for Jackie Love and Baolan looks awful. Caitlyn Lux for a normal pushing lane is ridiculously powerful in the 2v2. Olaf is almost impossible to contest in the jungle, and they're drafting weak side GP early, saying, we'll take whatever crappy matchup for Gimgoon. He lives on the weak side, but we can cannon barrage to win the bot duo harder. So this is FPX responding to what we were showing you guys from the scoreboard, what happened in the previous game, which was that just literally Ning on Olaf ran a train on bot side, and there was no way to salvage Caitlyn and Lux. This is doubling down in a really big way on playing bottom side. You know you're going to get some level of counterpick, and the Vladimir is the Shy classic and a champion that gets to a point where you can just run over GP. But the Vladimir needs to be able to get out of lane and find timings, and the argument is that if Caitlyn, Lux, and Olaf just run down bot lane, get a turret, run top lane, get a turret, maybe Vlad will never be able to actually be teamfight ready in a region that's known for being super bloody. So we get the Vladimir versus GP. It's a good matchup for Vladimir after about level 6. The first 5 levels, GP can actually win trades, but after that, it's pretty one-way traffic unless you take Ignite. And Doinby takes his most played champion in summer with the mid lane Nautilus, which is really interesting. It's a champion that obviously will not have priority on Taliyah, but it's a champion with insane gank assist. And now, Taliyah pre-Banshee Veil is on a really short leash in this lane. Caitlyn Lux with these tools means they can pressure bot side. FPX have a jungler who can find kills in mid or play around bot side in order to take turrets. Meanwhile, iG have a very strong winning lane as the game scales on, like a scaling winning matchup in top. Actually becomes a bit of a war of who can get bot lane for bigger plays around ult timings. Like if you can get GP to ult top lane, like you threaten a dive, back away, and then Taliyah roams bot side, that's the sort of small win iG need, try to win bot. This is 2 drafts that are largely, until about 25 minutes, about sending everything bot lane and seeing what sticks. So what do you do when you have the god tier bot side? You start off with vertical jungling. So FPX go for a big invade bot side. They put down wards. There's a responding vision from iG that's placed. And he knows that he has to start top side because you have to respect Nautilus, Olaf, Caitlyn Lux bot side when it comes to what happens here. So it's on a ward, but they have a invasion ward on the top side, and they have the ability to take over the top side jungles. Chad is asking, do you think it's correct by Olaf to counter jungle despite or less vertical jungling here? So what you guys need to understand is the context in which this game is played is that Ning just ass blasted bot lane by camping it like crazy. They got destroyed by iG playing bot side focus. And instead, this game, FPX are making the adjustments that are possible in best of 3s by going for a late invade with a crazy strong level 1 draft, taking over the bottom side of the jungle, and from there, actually being able to keep the Tahm Kench lane in check. Tahm Kench lane's level 1, so it's very, very weak, and allow the Caitlyn Lux lane to succeed. So Olaf wants to control the bottom side because Gimgoon has taken one this game. He blind picked GP against the Shy with Vladimir up, with other picks up, took it early, just to allow himself the chance to ult bot lane. So everything that FPX has done come game number 3 is to play around their bot lane. So yes, vertical jungling here is 100% correct, because you're not trying to get 3 camps from Jarvan, you're trying to get Caitlyn and Lux ahead. It's 3 minutes 15. You assume Olaf is getting ready to take down the scuttle, or he's ganking bot lane. Those are the 2 options that he's into. If he's not spotted, Taliyah has to be oh so worried about certain plays. Now, they're not going to get too much out of Balan. They only get a heal out of it. But these are the sort of plays that a Caitlyn Lux lane with Olaf jungle are about. This Olaf is about running over bot lane alongside his allies over any other objective here. So a lot of priority shown around there. Now, Doinby rotates bot lane because Rookie's on a back timing. So this is all about trying to get LWX and Crisp ahead, and also to force Rookie to, every time he backs, back through bot lane, come through his red side jungle that he has no priority. Remember, Rookie doesn't really know anything about this jungle. It's a jungle that's been controlled by the enemy. So every time he comes through this jungle, he's at danger of being picked. Speaking of, yeah, Rookie's got nowhere to go. And a play like this flows on from the play that we saw before. Rookie has to go through bot side jungle in order to cover for bot lane if another turret dive happens. So he's predictably going to be pathing on the right side into mid lane. And that's exactly when they open up with a gank here. So if you're going to play Nautilus mid lane, you're screaming, my jungler's going to play through mid. And that's exactly what happens. And the kill threat on this duo is insane. That's Rookie paying for the sins of the early game draft that does allow FPX to keep playing through bottom side. Taliyah wants to be making top side plays. Like, the way that you equalize this game is that Taliyah roams top with Jarvan and they kill the GP. If Taliyah has to go through bot lane into mid and then gets ganked, that's because Taliyah's being forced into the weak side and that iG haven't been able to create enough pressure on their top side. Difficult to do early for Vladimir against GP. You don't necessarily want to be ganking for an early Vlad. So it just comes back to the draft. FBX set everything up to get a bot side lead and actually transferred it already into a plate, but more importantly, a mid lane kill. So far the game is going how FPX set it up, is what you guys should be needing to take away here. The champion with Warrior Enchant, we already mentioned 60% win rate in China, 25% win rate in Korea. That's not because Olaf is good or bad. It's because Olaf has a certain effectiveness ranking at early game ganking, i.e. super high, super early, and LPL teams are able to get advantages out of it. Pretty big mistake from Crisp here in how he approached the lane. Falls super low. He's trying to bait in this duo because his jungler is soloing down the Mountain Drake. Let's watch how this all starts. So Nautilus walked down to cover for the Mountain Drake. And then Taliyah just leaves when the minion wave is pushed out to make a play like this. Now, in the LCK, of course, this Olaf is way further out, but this is the LPL, and people are always thinking about fighting. That's why we actually get some aggression from it. It ends up being 1-for-1, but LWX is so safe that they're going to get turret plates. This is Rookie, after dying, trying to get out of lane. Like, the reason why a play like this happens is, if you are Ignite Taliyah and you used your flash and died, you're against a Nautilus, right? Like, you can't lane against this duo. So roaming is actually better than laning for Rookie because he can't really safe lane. Now, he does end up trading a 1-for-1. It's not a 1-for-0, but it's actually, like, Taliyah only really functions in this game getting other people ahead because staying in her own lane doesn't really work. So while the play could have been more clean, and it does have the flow-on effect of losing like 2 turret plates from the action, like, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't when it comes to FPX around the bot side. And if GP's going to ult and all this play happens and only a single kill comes down, it's actually pretty fine. Here we go. Mid lane focus. You look at the lane state. Control ward bot side. The Nautilus is held for a while. Lux was on a recall. Where is the safe spot for no flash Taliyah to stand? Like, what are you going to do? Like, you can't flame Rookie for deaths like this. It's again falling into the game state, but this is what Nautilus mid lane does. Another pick that Korean teams tried and failed with. Like, you could stand under the turret and not get experience, I guess, or Ning could spend all of his time mid lane, but realistically, you just die. The only thing that IG have, which it was their primary win condition in draft, is the Vladimir outscale. So it is important that Vladimir's been able to grow a 20 CS lead, but Vlad doesn't actually turn that into solo kill pressure till probably next shop, or maybe level 9 and just the right all in. Oh! Alright. The reason why I favor FPX's comp over IG's, if they're going to have a plan like this, is that you're right in that Vlad has a bit of an awkward kind of 6 levels against GP, then outscales and can slam him in the 1v1 and can potentially be big in team fights. So it's very easy to say, but IG's winning up top lane. But the issue there is that the game style, if FPX can take down this outer bot lane turret, remember it's at 2 plates remaining, 9 minutes into the game. If the game becomes then Berserker Greaves, Pickaxe, BF Sword, Caitlyn just going to side lanes, taking down turrets, and the general pace of the game staying super high, Vlad only really gets out of order with significantly more gold in his tool set than just last hitting every minion correctly. So because FPX can strike and get kind of a huge team gold lead that only Vladimir might be competitive in by about 20 minutes, I still favor the FPX style of play. But you're right in that in a vacuum, IG is getting a lot of farm on Vlad, and that's better than obviously Vlad being held back. But it's not, to me, a reliable win condition if FPX plays correctly. And this is nicely done by IG. They have to use so much to make the play. It's Flash Chains of Corruption, Flash from Jarvan as well. They get the kill, but remember that so much of the options for FPX are to play through bot side. So Taliyah doesn't have Weaver's Wall throughout this play, makes the threat top side, and this is the bread and butter of FPX. Doinb being able to get out of lane first with CC. You see what happens. Taliyah pushes in. That's the same push in that she went and used the Weaver's Wall bot side. Weaver's Wall is not available. Not sure if FPX had that exact calculation, but the lane ward behind Varus Tom, even without Caitlyn there, because Olaf has no deep wards on him, beautiful. Instant TP, instant correct ult. You're definitely killing Tom. You want to kill the Varus. Couldn't have pulled the trigger better. That's what Doinb provides. Like, those are the sort of Doinb-esque moves, whether he's playing mid lane Nautilus or Ryze or his famous Kled, that get advantages. Caitlyn's actually going to just relieve pressure in mid. If Caitlyn had kept going bot lane, they would definitely got the turret. They're going to get it anyway. So they got a 10-minute turret here. And you look around and you're like, bot lane turret destroyed. Doinb getting some kills in on it. Caitlyn already mid with 5 plates to take with 10 minutes. So 3.5 minutes left until the plates go down. No Berserker Greaves, but already flat AD and the dagger. Like, this works out incredibly well for FPX until now, because Doinb overstays. Like, after they get the kill, the one more wave here actually costs Doinb. Tiana's already on the way out, and Doinb dies. Now, it's only a single death. Why he flashes, no one will ever know. That was just really bad. But there was no reason for Doinb to stay bot lane. Like, he must have really needed 3 CS for like a control ward or something. But in the commotion, WX able to get 2 turret plates in mid. WX has gotten a lot of the turret plates so far. That's 5 turret plates that LWX has been involved in. But this game is still FPX favored, in my opinion. But you start to get pretty scared about this Vladimir, right? if the Vladimir is stuck in his own lane and you continue to get more advantages, 3,000 gold lead becomes relevant. If the game goes on and the gold lead doesn't grow, 3,000 gold lead against the Vladimir, a lot less relevant, as we know. It's a little bit surprising that Doinby resets by going straight down bot lane, because Doinby could have run at Rift Herald, and FPX, as it stands right now, would have been able to win a team fight pretty easily against even this Vladimir. At level 9, he's not strong enough to AoE down people. Doinby actually goes straight down bot lane with no TP, and it gives up Rift Herald. So that's like a small macro thing that I think FPX could have continued on. That being said, Mountain Drake for their team comp is obviously ultra insane. So there is still a pretty decent trade there, given that Doinby gets to full push a wave, and they get the Mountain Drake as well. Wow, this was well played. Look at this. For them to actually kill Rookie through stopwatch, that was clean. Good job, Crisp. In case you guys don't know, Crisp's old name was Pinus, P-I-N-U-S. There was no other way to pronounce it. He had to change his name, not sure why. Like, Tiana's huge. Warrior Black Cleaver is going to be done before Infernal Drake starts. Like, he's huge. And his agenda of getting bot ahead, smashing success. Yet, because it's Olaf, Caitlyn, Lux, and Nautilus who falls away huge in terms of damage, like, they will get outscaled one way or the other, right? The Vladimir outscales this entire game, it feels like. So because of that, in fact, that he outscales 1v1 and 5 and like 5v5, you got to be careful as FBS continue to always have that same agenda to push and grab more, so they can't fall back into any passive tendencies. Caitlyn could have gone top lane. There's a good point made in chat. Why didn't Caitlyn go top? I think Caitlyn, because teleport was down on Doinby, wanted to be around the safer turret, which was the mid lane. I think there was a way that Olaf could have played topside to open it up, but it would have given up Mountain Drake. So it's possible that the lure of the Mountain Drake is the reason that Caitlyn didn't go top and stayed kind of mid lane for extra safety. IG making plays like this is so important. Like, watch the picks they did. They did this on LWX last time. Chains of Corruption into Flash E coming through from Rookie. So Rookie, who we remember just couldn't really enter lane against all the damage and gank threat of Olaf Nautilus, is making himself relevant and is actually way more strong in terms of game contribution than a 1-4-2 Talia ever could have been considered. You know? Like, this is very much Rookie trying to make plays outside of lane because his lane was basically lost super early. And every time Caitlyn or Lux has to reset and Vision starts to get put down incrementally by IG, recreating a map state where Olaf walks around with his axe, you're scared of him, and Caitlyn pew-pews turrets gets harder. And also means that more gold is injected into the game. We're now at a 51,000 gold game, 25k on the IG side, 27k on the FBX side. As there's more gold in the game, 2-3 item phase comes around where Caitlyn struggles and Vladimir and Varus start to take off. So important notes there that those kills are not just kill no objective that we might criticize in a different review, but given the fact that FPX are playing a tempo draft, and you've heard me call Olaf a tempo jungler, Caitlyn Lux the epitome of a tempo lane and wants to take turret plates and not fight, every time LWX is chunked out or dies, the tempo slows, the tempo chills out. It becomes a low tempo game, which I know people love to talk about low tempo and high tempo, and Mike Young. And IG can just potentially siege down turrets on their own, right? Weavers are all used here. Mid lane outer goes down. Any plays like this where IG are getting free structure gold that FPX is not getting because of LWX's 2 back timings, 1 gray screen, 1 chunk out, is so huge for IG to buy time. Another stylistic difference you'll see, though, is that from behind, iG have been trying to make plays around the map. Chat talking about the fact that GP also wasted his ult about a minute and a half ago on one of those plays. That's true. We talked about it in draft. Getting a GP ult, getting a Nautilus teleport, getting Olaf's time. Like, there's a lot of tools to waste that if used perfectly by FPX, just get them everything on the map, such as their power. But iG disrupting that rhythm gets them into points where the team fights that looked impossible before are looking way more possible here. Like, FPX are in a stall still, and now it's actually going to be a 50-50 dragon after the last two were just not contestable. Where did the Shy start this play? Shy coming from base, starts this play, has teleport up. They're probably expecting a TP gank. It's a good spot by Doinby. Doinby, as the veteran, is trying to spot for the Shy on the bot side. Oh. It's a beautiful entry, but FPX play this so well. So FPX have had control around this area for a long time. Let's watch how it all happens. The Shy is being stopped by Doinby. So Doinby knows exactly his role here. Doinby, it wants to ult someone, and his best role is to peel away the Shy. Like, that's what you want to do here. Like, Doinby, if he can just throw out his ultimate and then use the rest of his cooldowns to stop Vladimir from getting in, the person who got all the farm early, is doing his job. And that increasingly becomes impossible as we get to late game. But at this point in the game, you can actually stall out the Vladimir as Nautilus because you do relevant damage and you're relevantly tanky this early. Baolan flashes in, trying to make the engage. But Doinby does walk over, if you notice, and just spends all of his time interrupting the Shy as FPX are in position. So that means Jackie Love fighting alone, Vladimir not zoning anyone, and Rookie fighting alone. So even though the Shy is like epically good at threading out maximum damage, it's maximum damage from level 12 Vladimir. Just look at how much goaltending is done. He's stunned, and then he's rooted and ignited. So he's wasted all this time, and that means that everyone else's health bar that requires the Vladimir to be in there with an AoE Hemoplague and AoE Tides of Blood, all of their health bars are wasted because Doinby and Crisp knew their job, which was to stop the Vladimir. And that was really well done. Now, it's 18 minutes, so if that was at 20 minutes, double Mountain and let's say Infernal to FPX, they run straight at Baron. So they're actually a little bit undone by how early that fight is. But this is the sort of fight that gets FPX a Baron and closes the game because it doesn't get them the Baron and they had already lost the Infernal. It feels good. Like, it's good to get that investment of gold, but the extra gold on Olaf doesn't really make him noticeably stronger. Caitlyn still doesn't have a kill, so that mid-game trough is in full effect. She has no items, basically, apart from the Infinity Edge. And Nautilus doesn't really do any more damage after about the first item. Like, there's no way for Nautilus to build up damage items and do relevant damage in team fights, so he's already starting to focus more on utility. So the gold that was gotten by FPX can't really be spent on winning the game now, and they have a draft that needs to win the game around the siege imminently. So it's kind of it's really good feel, right? Doinby's like, yes, we did it. It's a really good setup around that Drake, and yet it's unlikely to change the game state from FPX, where they're nebulously doing okay, but it doesn't help them win more. So FPX actually start the Baron here, which is super risky. So FPX have no deep vision. They have strong Baron turn with Cannon Barrage and Nautilus. And they want people to come through one entrance. But they don't for sure know which entrance the enemy team is coming on. And watch how low they get the Baron. So FPX make a really poor Baron call. So let's talk about the draft. This draft with two Mountain Drakes is the epitome of a early Baron comp. Like, they have Caitlyn Lux, who got first turret or were involved in first turret, they were able to get the mid lane outer turret. Notice they never got to rotate top side and take top lane outer turret. So already they don't have the minions helping them out by pushing down and giving them the ability to easily push in and contest. So they don't have any deep vision around, say, the Gromp spawn that you would usually see. There's no Wolves ward. There was one shallow ward that was already control warded nice and early. So they don't know anything about the configuration of how IG are approaching. Now, if IG walked in a line this way, yes, Nautilus ults the back target and they're all knocked up. You finish the Baron. That's not realistically going to happen, especially when you don't know for certain that it's on the way. So they're playing this Baron like this turret is dead and that they have the right vision to know how IG are approaching and thus hit their point and click CC and take down the Baron intelligently. Instead, because they don't have that, without that vision, it's a good, smart approach here. The wombo engages from one side and the carries from the other side. Plus, the Shine now does have double flat pen, proto belt, and the Spellbinder. Like, the Shine does have team fight items on a group team. So you need to get off this Baron early. The only way you get off this Baron is if you turn on at like 28 minutes, 30 minutes. Like at this point, 22 minutes in, like with how squishy they are, like you look at the magic resist, you're like Merc Treads, Hex Drinker, no magic mantle, Merc Treads, no magic mantle, some magic resist there. Like this team has not got health and magic resist, right? They're like on the squishier ebb. You got to turn off the Baron like 6, 7, 8,000 health. The moment you get it below 5,000, you can't fully disengage because if you kite upwards, I just take the Baron. So FPX are in a good spot in this game. Like we can click away and see the entire gold. Like they're 3,000 gold ahead in the game. They have the ability to just take down this outer top lane turret and put down deep vision. There's other things they can do. And even if FPX want to fight, they can only take certain types of fights. The fights where it's about who the Nautilus ults, like when he teleported bot lane, absolutely you can take those fights as FPX. But fights like this, where you're going to come in and Vladimir can contest one side, the Weaver's Wall can cramp your style, and the Baron's already fallen to 4,000. Like, look at how much free damage the Shy gets in on the backline before and how little threat there is on Jackie Love. Because they only had one Nautilus ult to threaten one person, and Jackie Love never walked up until after FPX had already started. So it almost felt like FPX were doing a Baron that suited a game where they had gotten more of an early game lead, and they just get wrecked by the Shy and Rookie. Look at the flash seismic shove, too, from Rookie. The seismic shove there to... LWX is going to die to Baron, right? Basically. What a good play. Like, Rookie has flashed aggressively every single one of his flashes outside of when he died mid lane. Like, for him to, like, find this much relevance on Talia in a game where he looked useless, 3 deaths at 8 minutes, is sick. But now the problems come plentiful for FPX, because now Vladimir has hit his items and has Baron. So GP can no longer enter lane against him without being chased down or gives up a minion wave and has to back away. The Nautilus damage right now is actually pretty low, so it's not really much ways for him to impact the map unless they outnumber. And if IG show up somewhere first, FPX can't go to them because FPX's engage is only Nautilus ult or Lux binding or Olaf ulting. So even though FPX have a 5-1 and 4 Olaf, the reason why Olaf feels useless is that he's really ahead at doing his thing of being somewhere first and you can't go near him. But if his team falls behind and he has to run in and contest, he's not tanky enough going a full AD build in order to threaten anyone's positioning. And if he goes a tankier build, he doesn't do any damage. So Olaf going this build can't make mistakes like the Baron buff the FPX took. Otherwise, he just won't have a role in future team fights, and he ends up being pretty useless. IG can easily play 2 lanes. Yeah, they're showing respect. They don't want to play 3 lanes because Talia doesn't really have that much ability. It takes a time to get between lanes. And they want to be able to just always be within Weaver's Wall global range in order to turret dive with the Shy. Because turret diving a team like FPX is actually very viable. The Shy is so aggressive. I love LCK, but I love LPL too. So the all-in onto Rookie without stasis. The Shy hits a huge ult, right? That Crisp is dead instantly. Multiple stasis are used. But the Shy flashes in when actually he probably wanted to play around his backline more. Like, they're so aggressive here to try to win the game straight up on this push, when I think they have the outscale. If you're FPX in a reverse scenario, I think flashing in trying to get more kills is fine because you're scared of where the game is going. But there was no reason for them to flash into the base. JackieLove flashed into the Nautilus to die as well, which is... But to a great degree, the damage here is already done because it's very hard for FPX to recreate the map state that existed before when everything they did bottom side suited them. How did that happen? Wow. Well, Rookie didn't have flash. He didn't have a choice there. He had to fight, but it's like a bonus kill in the end. But just coming back to my point. Because the Vlad is this big, you can make mistakes like that as iG that FPX can't afford to make. So even though that's really sloppy, like if they had clearer comms, they would have played around JackieLove and just killed Nautilus on the back end. Like the Shy is now really big. 55 CS up, 3 big completed items, soon to be 4. iG know that if they just get the next Baron, the game ends, right? So they can just play topside jungle, poke around. Doinby's now really only an ult, then useless. Like, you can't do anything as AP Nautilus against a Vladimir comp late in the game. Oh, no. Oh, you hate to see it. He sorted the ass. Oh, he missed the... He missed the hook there, which actually matters a lot when it's AP Nautilus. And that's why they just don't have any damage and real threat on the backline. Oh, the fail flash too. Let's watch this all slowly and work out why it all happens. Because this game gets into a weird spot. Basically, Doinby wants to catch iG rotating between top and bot before Baron spawns. That makes sense. All he can do is catch, so you understand the entrance. JackieLove last to respawn, Baolan walking up, try to being safe. Now, LWX gets into a weird spot as well because he's clearing out a minion wave and comes down. So because Vladimir's bot side, both the AD carries are like, okay, I guess we could walk in this way and be fine. But it means that no one has a front line because we're fighting an enemy jungle. First consequential thing, Doinby aims here, aims too far on the left, and hits there. So he loses out on Q, which with AP is quite a lot of damage. It has, I think, 0.9 AP ratio. So that means no damage onto Baolan. He has to ult Baolan after that. So now Doinby really did nothing with his ult and Q, and they're both on cooldown to begin the fight. Meanwhile, with how the fight is starting, before LWX even walks down, the backline just gets completely occupied by Ning. Like, Ning is a monster here. Like, look at this. There's actually nowhere for them to go. They can't even get onto the blast plan. So they're basically 5 seconds stunned in the backline when LWX is walking down. Like, LWX wants to be walking down like this and fighting behind a front line, but he ends up poking at the side because he's the only person that has access to Doinby and forgetting that Vladimir is about to get to the fight. Because now LWX walks in thinking he's going to get free autos before the Shy has used anything, right? Like, the fail flash there is kind of sad as well from LWX. There's nothing they can do on this one. So because FPX came in at such weird angles, because we're fighting in such weird terrain, It allowed first Ning to just dominate the enemy team, then Vladimir to dominate the enemy team, and even Rookie to slide in and pick up a kill. So it was just iG understanding the terrain they were fighting around a lot cleaner. So we're not exactly sure why Olaf just runs and dies here, but that does happen. He had ult, but it's against Jarvan, so... Okay. Where did the Shy start this play? So after the pick started, the Shy was already TPing. This is a really good look. The Shy's TPs before hadn't always been great. The moment he saw Olaf face checking, he knew that either they were going to kill Olaf or they were going to be able to get the flank off. That's beautifully done by the Shy. This is a really good teleport. Because either Olaf died instantly or the Shy's definitely killing Olaf +1. You'll notice he even holds on to the Hemoplague towards the end. Hits the EQ. I think LWX probably dies there, but obviously it's best to guarantee it as Ning. That was really well done on that one. So when did the Hemoplague come up? We can actually watch it on the top left. Yeah, he was actually forced to hold the Hemoplague. It wasn't even his decision. But that was a really good flank teleport, where they read that Olaf was going to try to contest the brush with Ragnarok. The Shy hasn't been in like unbelievable form for a while, but like his best games are still so outstanding. And now it's Baron, so there's almost no way for FPX to stop this game from just being a iG victory. Seismic Shove is already doing 50% of a Nautilus's health bar. AP Nautilus falls off super hard, so does FPX's comp. Watch this play in slow motion. The Shy walks up as if he's going to auto-attack. He auto-attacks the turret. One auto-attack, and then, yep, I'm doing it. Protobelt, Flash R. He knew he'd register it with at least Lux and Caitlyn. Beautiful. Knows that play is going to zone them away from the inhibitor. Easy peasy. So FPX are trying to fight them and not allow them to reset, because otherwise they know they'll lose the game anyway. But the Shy sees the hook miss and he's like, wait. Like, watch the Shy on this. Q. Regular Q. The pull timing. The pull timing. Oh. It looks, if you slow it down enough, that he doesn't even get it, but he's that good at it that he gets it. Oh. Ridiculous. That was an impressive win. And what I want people to take away from this series is how iG is different to Korean teams and how the LCK and LPL are very, very different. Because you hear that all the time, but actually visualizing it with a bit of context I think is helpful. What I will say that's unique about this game is that FPX was way better with Warrior Olaf than we get from LCK Olaf teams. So they got a lot and they were able to get the turret they needed, etc., etc. What was unique about iG is that when they were getting run over, especially in the mid lane where Rookie had died 3 times in the first 8 minutes, to go from 0-3 Talia without flash against Nautilus Olaf and then hit multiple flash seismic shoves, roam multiple times, understand that if he goes bot lane and dies, but his AD carry gets a 1-for-1, it's still overall a trade up for him because he doesn't actually want to be farming in mid lane. He can't. He's going to die. Like, I'm very impressed with how iG look at a chaotic game and still try to get leads elsewhere. It's very reminiscent of G2 when they're playing well. So they required one mistake. Like FPX's Baron here was a pretty big screw up where they just didn't have enough priority to make the actual Baron take and maybe were baited in because they did too much damage with a double mountain. But it's still very impressive how iG is able to hang in there with creativity and hard picks. And that's just not something we see with really any team. Damwon Gaming on a good day, but most of the Korean teams kind of hang back and take it, hoping for the enemy to make a mistake. Instead, iG hung in there and fought with inferior tools, and then also gift wrapped the mistake that we do see pretty frequently. So just a little bit of a subtle difference there, but I think iG keeping the heat up, even though they were so far behind, especially in mid, was the reason that they were able to actually have a mistake fall into laps. Because if they hadn't, if they had just farmed it out, the Baron take would have been safer, the top lane outer turret would have been down, and the game would have ended around that. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about with this review, and also highlight some pretty sick mechanics on full display. Heavily expect these two teams will both be either making it to Worlds or in the final of the Worlds Gauntlet for sure. iG, RNG, FPX, all really strong at the moment. So thank you for watching my LPL VOD review. Bit of a treat. I know I don't get around.